Are you tired of hating yourself? Are you ready to start waking up and having the relationship of your dreams when it comes to yourself? Imagine waking up every morning, loving yourself from head to toe. If this sounds like you, then you're in the right place. This isn't just about setting New Year's resolutions. It's about committing to a lasting change that will transform the relationship that you have with yourself. I'm going to share my personal favorite tips and techniques that will help you start your self-love journey so that you can build a healthy, loving relationship with yourself from now on. So if you want to learn how to do that, then keep on watching. But first, let's talk about why people fail at their New Year's resolutions and one of the biggest mistakes that people make when it comes to setting New Year's resolutions. The reason why New Year's resolutions fail is because people focus on outcome-based goals instead of changing their identity. The knowledge that I'm going to be sharing in this video about habits, these are all from the book Atomic Habits, which helped me immensely, by the way. So I'm going to be quoting a lot from that book. Yeah, just to give you a heads up. According to James Clear, the author of the book Atomic Habits, there are 3 levels of change: outcome change, process change, and identity change. And the most effective way to change is to change your identity. To create lasting change, focus on who you want to become, not just what you want to achieve. Because you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Here's an example of an identity-based change. Instead of saying, I want to love myself more, when you focus on identity change, you stop chasing an outcome and start becoming the person that naturally aligns with that outcome. I am someone that treats themselves with love and respect. I am someone that prioritizes themselves. You create a system of daily actions and habits, as well as weekly self-love sessions, where you continuously show up for yourself and practice self-love and self-care. That is your system for building that healthy, loving relationship with yourself. By making small, consistent actions aligned with this identity, you reinforce to yourself that you are someone that loves themselves, that you are someone that has a healthy, loving relationship with themselves, that you are someone that prioritizes yourself and your own needs. By setting boundaries, by practicing self-love and self-care on a daily and weekly basis. Your identity shapes your habits, and your habits shapes your identity. It's a two-way street, and they're both connected. And your habits reinforces your identity, because habits are not about doing something, they're about becoming someone. Every small action is a vote for the type of person that you wish to become. For example, saying I love you to yourself every single day when you wake up in front of the mirror strengthens and reinforces your new identity of someone that loves themselves. And I'm assuming you really are taking your self-love journey seriously. As in the fact that I'm asking you, are you serious about transforming your relationship with yourself? Many people don't take their relationship with themselves seriously because they don't understand the importance of self-love and why self-love matters. Nobody can make you change something unless you don't want to change. I want you to set the intention, write it in your journal, or you can mark it on your phone by having it on your phone screen, home screen, or lock screen, like doing a phone vision board or a Pinterest vision board and having it as your lock screen or your home screen. This is something that I do very often when it comes to other things that I want to work on in my in the following year. Put something on your wall, a quote or a symbol, or maybe decorate your room to symbolize a new chapter of your life. Whatever it is, set the intention that this is the new chapter of your life where you are going to take your relationship with yourself seriously, and that starting from this year, you are going to build a healthy, loving relationship with yourself or deepen your relationship with yourself. You're going to identify your new identity as in the version of yourself that you want to become. If you just only wrote down 5 things or even 7 or even just 10, that's good enough. You don't need to go above that. It doesn't matter if you don't know that much about self-love because you'll be learning about self-love when it comes to different aspects, when it comes to the relationship with yourself later down the line as you go along on your journey. You're either going to write this on your notes section or on a piece of paper. You're going to write everything in I am format. So this practice will look something like this. You're going to write down, I am someone who practices self-love on a daily basis. I am someone who accepts, embraces, and loves themselves. You can write down, I am someone who practices positive self-talk. You can write down, I am someone who practices self-compassion whenever I make a mistake. If, for example, you used to beat yourself up every time you make a mistake or had a negative relationship with yourself every time you make a mistake, then you can write this down. Very clear, very simple. You will learn everything about how to work through mistakes in another separate video along the line when you go along on your self-love journey, because I'll be filming a video about that and going deeper in the way that I work through mistakes with self-compassion, as well as learning the lesson that I'm supposed to learn and becoming a better version of myself. Then you can write something like, I am someone who is confident in their physical appearance. I am someone who sees themselves as an attractive man, as an attractive woman. And then you can write something like, I am someone who treats themselves with love and respect. You can write something like, I am someone who respects themselves. I am someone who has a high self-worth. You can also write something like, I am someone who prioritizes themselves and their relationship with themselves and meeting their own emotional needs. So for me, if I were to do this practice in the past, when I started to take my self-love journey seriously as a 16-year-old, because I started my self-love journey mid-15-year-old, but I didn't take it that seriously and I didn't learn the lesson from my first toxic connection. So for me, at the forefront of my mind, when I discovered that I was a codependent, for me, it was very clear to me, okay, I had a negative relationship with myself. I had no self-respect. I had no self-worth. And I was incapable of being alone and happy because I didn't know how to give myself love and validation. I sought my self-worth in other people. I was incapable of prioritizing myself and my own needs. I was incapable of setting boundaries. So those things were very clear to me. I had a general theme that I was focusing on at the beginning of my self-love journey. If you're in the same situation, just like my past self, then you can write something like, I am someone who enjoys their own company and can be alone and happy. I am someone who can make themselves happy. You can write something like, I am someone who makes myself feel seen, heard, acknowledged, loved, and appreciated. I am someone who validates themselves. I am someone who is committed to themselves. I am someone who shows up for themselves and meets their own emotional needs. I am someone who focuses on themselves. I am someone who unapologetically puts themselves in the first place. Or you can write something like, I am someone who stands up for themselves and speaks their truth. Like, I am someone who sets boundaries with other people unapologetically. I am someone who listens to themselves and honors how I feel and what I want to do. I am someone who respects my boundaries. But in order to get to this part, you need to know how you feel and where your boundaries are. And that takes time because you need to sit down and ask yourself questions and get to know yourself and your needs and how you feel and what you want, because you've been so disconnected from yourself and your own needs that you don't even know what your boundaries are. And not lying to yourself, you need to learn how to be honest with yourself if you want to set boundaries. So I just wanted to mention this so that you can learn more about setting boundaries later down the line as you go along on your self-love journey. But for now, you can make that clear to yourself as your new identity. You can also write something like, I am someone who is discovering their authentic self in the present moment, because, I cannot just say, oh yeah, I am my authentic self when I don't even know my authentic self. It takes time for you to discover your authentic self, as you need to unlearn all the things that you have learned growing up in your childhood and your teenage years that has made you not be your authentic self in the first place. Last but not least, you could also write, I am someone who treats their body with love and respect. I am someone who has a healthy, loving relationship with their body. I am someone who appreciates and treats their body with love and respect. I am someone who prioritizes their mental, emotional, physical well-being every single day. These are some of the things that you can write for your new identity that you are stepping into, the new version of yourself that you are becoming based on the healthy, loving relationship that you are going to build with yourself. That version of yourself, what are the things that they stop doing? What are the things that they are no longer going to do? For example, it might be the fact that if you're healing from codependency, just like how I started healing from codependency at the beginning of my self-love journey, I ended the toxic connection. I stopped dating. I already outgrew the friends in my school. So basically, it was just me in my life. But I also didn't go on dating apps or any new apps to focus on other people or meet new people because it wasn't that time. The focus really had to be on me. So for you, that might be you delete that dating app. You delete that app that you downloaded where you waste your time talking to new people.
When you should be prioritizing yourself and learning how to meet your own emotional needs that you do not know how to do.
You are seeking that attention and validation from other people. Or maybe if you have friends, you tell your friends that, hey, I'm not going to go out that much. I am starting this self-love and healing journey. And the thing is, if those friends are good, they're gonna respect your boundaries. If those friends are not good, then you should throw these friends out the window. No, I'm just kidding, but like cut them out of your life because a good friend will always respect your boundaries. Of course, we are human beings and I love connections and I value deep connections, but I'm just saying that you cannot use other people to avoid yourself. That is self-abandonment and you are neglecting yourself and running away from yourself, which is the exact thing that I did for the longest time in the past. And now I'm telling this to you, so make it clear to yourself that you're gonna focus on yourself and delete those apps and limit going out that much with people, I guess, for a while because you need yourself. Last but not least, for the people that follow a bunch of K-pop idols or celebrities or influencer, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, whoever you follow, if they're a woman that you're following, that you're constantly comparing yourself to, this is not going to be good. And building a healthy, loving relationship with yourself, this is something that you're going to stop doing. You can unfollow those people. Later down the line, when you get to a better place, you can follow some celebrities back. But right now, stop binge watching K-pop videos if it triggers your eating disorder or it triggers your negative body image. You can build an unshakable self-love. But first, we need to limit all the noises and influences and all that distraction. So since a lot of people are on their phone 24 hours, let's make that a place where you can, be inspired. So instead of going on Instagram and comparing yourself to other people, stop doing that. You can have a lock screen and a home screen where you have some meaningful quotes about self-love or about loving yourself, or certain quotes or intentions that you have for the version of yourself that you are becoming. And that can be your reminder every time you turn on your phone, you see the lock screen or your home screen, and that will make you feel inspired and remind you of the version of yourself that you are stepping into. The reason why I asked you to get clear on how you want to feel about yourself, the new identity that you are stepping into, is because it helps you to clearly separate your conditioned self from the healthy version of yourself that you are becoming right now. Your conditioned self is made out of, I'll say, developed through the effects of the childhood traumas and negative experiences that you've been through in the past that negatively impacted you emotionally and psychologically. It will help you give you a clear direction, a clear picture about who you are becoming and everything that you are going to stop doing that was part of your old version of yourself, that was the conditioned self, such as looking in front of the mirror and judging yourself, picking yourself apart, looking in front of the mirror and saying all kinds of things, or beating yourself up and calling yourself all sorts of things when you make a mistake, or let's say, no longer betraying yourself, no longer abandoning yourself, no longer neglecting yourself. And now you have a clear guideline when it comes to who you want to become and how you want to feel about yourself, so that you can start embodying your new identity, so that from now on you will act differently, you will think differently, you will feel differently towards yourself. So now that you have a clear picture about who you want to become and how you want to feel about yourself, what you're going to do is that you're going to start thinking, acting, and feeling like your desired self. So let's say sometimes you go in front of the mirror and you talk negatively to yourself about a couple of things, about many things, or I don't know how many. Part of your new identity is to stop doing that. But now what you're going to do is, for example, you can Every single day when you wake up in front of the mirror as your new identity, someone that loves themselves, you will say, I love you to yourself every single day in front of the mirror. When I say thinking, acting, and feeling like your new identity, I am not saying the fact that you cannot cry. What do I mean by that? When I started saying I love you to myself at the beginning of my self-love journey, I cried sometimes, a lot of the times, because I felt like all of the parts of myself that I've been neglecting, all of the parts of myself that was so deprived of my love, attention, and acceptance and validation was finally being seen and heard. Those parts of myself that I pushed down, rejected, or neglected, or didn't love and appreciate, or those aspects of myself that wanted my parents' validation or acceptance but didn't receive that growing up. So when I was saying I love you to myself and I was looking right into my eyes in front of the mirror, I would cry, not from a place of, oh, like I still hate myself. This is so hard. Oh my God, like no, not from that place, but from a place of my past self didn't know the fact that the abuse that she went through during childhood affected her so negatively that she hated herself and had a negative relationship with herself and was so harsh towards herself. From that place, I cried because I had so much compassion for my past self. I cried because I was forgiving my past self. If you want to cry, then cry from the place of forgiving your past self and seeing, appreciating yourself from coming back to yourself and taking responsibility for yourself and being proud of yourself. One of the biggest mistakes that people make when starting their self-love journey is trying to do everything all at once, which ends up you feeling overwhelmed and just feeling confused and just not making progress in the way that you are hoping to because you are trying to do everything all at once, which is the reason why I would highly recommend you to start small, but start somewhere. So let me explain why small habits can make a big difference. When it comes to starting your self-love journey, the goal is progress, not perfection, because the enemy of progress is perfection. Let me talk about something very important that I've learned from the book Atomic Habits, which is the fact that the power of 1% improvement. Small habits compounds over time. If you improve just 1% each day, you will be 37 times better by the end of this year. But if you slip 1% worse each day, then you will end up with significant negative results. What starts as a small win or a minor setback accumulates to something big, either a positive significant result or a negative significant result. When we make small positive choices like saying I love you to ourselves in front of the mirror every single day, or repeating an affirmation to yourself like I treat myself with love and respect, and you repeat this to yourself every single day, it seems small, but think about it. When it comes to self-love, you are with yourself 24 hours, and every single thing that you do, the way that you do it, shows whether you have a healthy, loving relationship with yourself or not, which is the reason why the affirmation, I am someone who treats themselves with love and respect. So if you, for example, repeat this throughout the day, you're wiring in a new self-talk, and not only you are going to catch yourself if you do find yourself wanting to talk to yourself in a negative way, the way that your past self, your old identity would have made you engage in a negative self-talk. Or every time you look at yourself in front of the mirror, if you used to talk like garbage to yourself in front of the mirror, then this is what you're going to remind yourself of. Hey, this is my new identity of someone who treats themselves with love and respect. As well as whenever you make a mistake, every time where you would have talked to yourself in a negative way or judged yourself really harshly, you're going to catch yourself and be like, no, I am someone that treats themselves with love and respect. And you are reinforcing it by repeating this affirmation. That's the thing. You see now the power of making this one small choice every single day. But something else that I also want you to remember is the fact that when you start loving yourself as a whole, other areas when it comes to the relationship with yourself are also positively impacted by that at the same time. So even if you tell yourself, for example, a repeated affirmation every single day, like, I treat myself and my body with love and respect, that has a positive impact when it comes to the way that you are going to now choose to speak with yourself, the way that you are going to choose to treat yourself when you make a mistake, the way that you are going to talk with yourself when it comes to your physical appearance or your body, or how you are going to treat your body. You see, when you do that, other areas when it comes to the relationship with yourself are positively impacted by that as well.
By the way, when I talked about showing up for yourself in small ways every single day, this is not just the only self-love practice that I'm talking about, by the way. So go to the chapter in this video where I talked about daily self-love practices that you can do.
Now, let me share with you the daily and weekly self-love practices that you can do to help you embody your new identity, and most importantly, to help you build the healthy, loving relationship with yourself that you desire. Now, without further ado, let me start with the first simple self-love practice that I've already talked about throughout this video many times. When it comes to the first small self-love practice that you can do, which is every single morning when you wake up, you are going to go in front of the mirror, look into your eyes, and you are going to say, I love you. From now on, every single day. It's okay if you forget one day, that's okay. You can just say it later down the day. I do this where if I forget this in the morning, I'll be like looking at my phone screen and I'll be saying I love you to myself. So you can do the same thing. I've already talked about throughout this video that this is the way that I started my self-love journey, which is by saying I love you to myself every single day in front of the mirror. As I mentioned earlier also in this video, when it comes to acting, thinking, feeling like your ideal self, it doesn't mean that you cannot cry when you say the words, I love you to yourself. Just go back and check out the chapter where I talked about acting and feeling and thinking like your ideal self. That's where I mentioned that if you cry when you say the words, I love you to yourself for the first time, but cry from the place of forgiving and having compassion for your past self, because that's exactly what I did. There you go. You can start doing this every single day. It's simple, it's small, and track it in your habit tracker, by the way. Don't forget to do this. I highly recommend it. Now, something very important that I just want to add, which is the fact that in the past, I would think to myself that any thought that would pop up into my mind that I am responsible for this, that this is me, this is how I feel, like I would engage with it. I would identify myself with my negative thoughts. And this is something that I really want to tell you, which is the fact that you are not your thoughts. Thoughts are always going to be there, that they come and they go. What you want to practice is practicing positive self-talk, which is the way that you choose to speak with yourself intentionally, your self-talk, your narrative, the story that you tell yourself. And whenever there's a negative thought that pops into your mind, just observe it. Don't identify yourself with those negative thoughts. That's something that I want you to keep in mind. Similarly to the first small self-love practice that I just talked about, this one is a little bit different, which is the fact that you're going to pick either 1 or 3 self-love affirmations. So for example, one general affirmation would be, I treat myself with love and respect, which you've already heard me talk about throughout this video multiple times, which is the reason why I'm not going to go that deep right now, because I've already talked about that and it will feel kind of repetitive. But just to talk about this briefly, now when it comes to the 3 specific affirmations, cater to your needs, where you want to focus on, those 3 affirmations could look something like, I see myself as an attractive woman or man, or I am compassionate with myself, I confidently express myself unapologetically. You can repeat either one or those 3 affirmations that you've picked while you are doing mundane tasks like cleaning or vacuuming the room. Now, this is a small but simple and powerful self-love practice that you can do to help you start building the healthy, loving relationship with yourself. Now, moving on to the next small and simple self-love practice that you can do every single day, which is the fact that every morning and every evening, while you're doing your skincare, while you're brushing your teeth or doing your face massage, You can play self-love affirmations and repeat those affirmations to yourself while looking at yourself in front of the mirror. Just listening to that self-affirmation tape and letting it reprogram your mind that this is how I talk with myself, that this is how I now speak with myself, that this is who I am right now, that this is how I feel about myself from now on, this is how I think about myself from now on. It will help you with your self-concept, it will help you with your self-esteem, it will help you with your self-confidence, as well as most importantly, it will help you with your self-love. Yeah, this is something that I do as well. In the morning though, I only say I love you to myself in front of the mirror. Every single day, evening when I'm doing my skincare and when I'm doing my face massage afterwards, I always play a subliminal and I repeat affirmations to myself. Or what you can do, I have recorded my own self-love affirmations, full of self-love affirmations that I just let it play in the background. And then you can also repeat those affirmations, and that can be really helpful. Now, moving on to the next action that you can take on your self-love journey. Maybe you're already familiar with this, because overnight affirmations and subliminals are getting really, really popular right now. You can play an overnight subliminal or an affirmation when it comes to self-love, self-respect, confidence, self-esteem, self-worth, self-concept. There are a lot of overnight affirmations on YouTube. I haven't made my own, but you'll be the first one to know if I did. You can play those affirmations overnight every single day. This is a powerful way to reprogram your subconscious mind, because your subconscious mind controls 90% of your life when it comes to your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors. You have those deep-seated beliefs from your childhood trauma that you've experienced or negative experiences, so on and so forth, in your subconscious mind. Those limiting beliefs impacts your relationship with yourself negatively when it comes to your self-love, when it comes to your self-worth, when it comes to your self-image, your self-concept. I've also used overnight affirmations when it comes to self-love, and I felt really positive. And right after I woke up, every single time I used those affirmations, I literally saw a difference. So throughout the whole year, you can reprogram your subconscious mind for self-love, self-worth, self-respect, your self-confidence, your self-concept, and much more, and other aspects such as money or success. Now, the next simple self-love practice that you can do either every day or on a weekly basis, which is a self-love guided meditation or a self-worth or self-respect guided meditation. If you want to do the self-love guided meditation every single day, or forgiving your past self meditation, or a sort of visualization, then by all means do that every single day. If you want to do it once a week, then do that. The next self-love practice that I personally really love, which is journaling. I do journaling once a week, but you can do this every single day, either for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, or for 15 minutes. But you can start small. By the way, I encourage you to start small and getting into the habit of showing up for yourself consistently. So I really love using journaling prompts. I really love asking myself questions. So I'll be writing my self-love journal prompts in the description box down below so that you can use that for yourself. Or maybe I will write it in the comment section and I will pin my comment. That way you can answer those questions for yourself as well, whichever way I choose to do that. But yeah, so I highly recommend this. This is something that I do personally that has really helped me. You can really get in touch with yourself on specific aspects, and that will help you connect with yourself emotionally and get in touch with yourself emotionally, validate yourself, and meet your emotional needs. So listen to yourself and mix and match and create your ideal self-love session. So similarly to what I just talked about, that you can do a journaling session for your self-love session, whether every day or just on a weekly basis like I do. Similarly to that, what you can add to that journaling session with yourself is the fact that you can also do journaling for self-discovery and for shadow work and for self-love. This will be a really good self-love session where you go even deeper when it comes to the relationship with yourself, such as when it comes to discovering your authentic self, which of course leads me to the next self-love practice that is really important, which is practicing shadow work for your journaling session, and that will help you love yourself unconditionally, because that's part of you learning how to love yourself unconditionally, is to accept and integrate and acknowledge all the parts of yourself that you have disowned or rejected, or that you deem as unworthy to be loved and accepted, and so on and so forth. Because you can't love yourself unconditionally if you say to yourself, oh, the aspect of myself that expresses anger is unlovable, doesn't deserve my love and acceptance and acknowledgement, and I should be ashamed of this aspect of myself. You can unconditionally love yourself if you do not accept and acknowledge and integrate the fact that you are and you can and you have aspect of yourself that can be self-centered, selfish, arrogance, what else? Pride. We all have these aspects of ourselves, the shadow and the light, the black wolf and the white wolf. And so when you merge these two, you accept, you acknowledge, and you integrate these aspects of yourself, that's when unconditional self-love happens. I'll go in depth about this topic in another video, but for now, this is just a simple explanation that I wanted to give you so that you can have a better understanding of what shadow work means and why you should do this. Or there's another form of shadow work, which is called, I forgot the name, discovering your golden shadow or something, I don't know, which is something along the lines of the very things that you admire in other people or certain qualities. You have that within you. You might just be suppressing that, for example, or you might have literally disowned that aspect of yourself. For example, if you admire in someone the fact that, they can be in the spotlight so well, or they can be in front of the stage, or they can perform in front of other people, and you admire that a lot, you have that as well. I mean, maybe if you've went through childhood trauma or whatsoever, or other negative experiences where you felt like, oh, I cannot show this aspect of myself, or else I'll be judged, or else I'll be made fun of. This is another form of shadow work that will help you step into your true potential and express yourself to the fullest and be your most confident version of yourself. And I would recommend you to do this shadow work session / journaling prompt shadow work session with yourself on a weekly basis and make it a little bit longer. So give yourself some time for this shadow work session. As well as there are self-love journaling prompts that you can do that will help you build a healthy, loving relationship with yourself and deepen your relationship with yourself. Maybe areas that you might not be so aware of that might need your love and attention and acknowledgement, or areas that you want to work on, or things about yourself that you didn't know. The reason why I ask you to do this, whether that's not only shadow work, but also the self-discovery journaling session, is the fact that you want to love the real you, not the conditioned self. The conditioned self, as in the people pleaser, codependent self that I was in the past, that was that wanted to please my parents, that molded myself to be someone that I absolutely wasn't, just so that I could receive the love, validation, or acknowledgement from my parents, or that I will not disappoint people. And so when I say love yourself, accept yourself, I'm talking about the real you. I'm talking about your authentic self. This is just something that I want you to keep in mind as you go along on your self-love journey. So the next self-love practice that you can do for your self-love session is mirror work. Now you can do this every day. The most simple one is looking at yourself in front of the mirror into your eyes and repeating positive affirmations to yourself, like I love you, or I am beautiful, and so on and so forth, like affirmations. Because mirrors are reflective, and the way that you feel internally is reflected back to you in front of the mirror, and they access the unconscious, which is the reason why this is really powerful, and you will see this when you practice this yourself. As well as a part of my mirror work session is, I call this my self-love therapy session. Basically what I do is I look at myself in front of the mirror. You're basically accessing your inner state. You're basically accessing how you truly feel. If I'm feeling numb on Sunday during my weekly self-love session, I'll literally go in front of the mirror and start talking to myself about about how I've been feeling and so on and so forth, and I kid you not, tears will be flowing down my cheeks. A part of myself was feeling neglected, and so if I speak certain positive, loving statements that makes me feel loved and appreciated, sometimes I'll literally fucking cry. Most of the time, it happens all the time. Like I'll literally, tears will be flowing down my cheeks, and this is the power of mirror work. And so, which is the reason why mirror work is one of my favorite self-love practices. Now, something else that you can do, which is also part of practicing mirror work, is shadow work. Doing shadow work in front of the mirror while looking at yourself. Asking certain journal prompts, questions for shadow work, and doing that in front of the mirror. Just told you. You can practice mirror work on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, and you can mix and match certain self-love practices. Maybe you're going to do the shadow work session on a weekly basis, and you are going to do the self-love conversation with yourself in front of the mirror on a daily basis. Take all the things that I've said and take it the way that it resonates with you and apply it in your life, in your schedule, or however it is that you want to do it, and apply that in your life for your daily and weekly self-love sessions. The next simple, small, and cutesy self-love practice that you can do, either on a weekly basis, is that you can learn how to write yourself a love letter. I think that's really cute to make yourself feel loved and appreciated and seen and heard. So I'll link a video in the description box down below where I talked about solo date ideas with yourself that you can do, and in that video I've wrote down how you can write a love letter, because that's kind of one of the activity that I've mentioned for your solo date with yourself. So you can check that video out if you want to learn how to write yourself a love letter. Yeah, I think this is a cute self-love practice, and you can get creative with it. You know, if you're to love a poetic ass love letter for someone else, do that for yourself. You know, you can pour that passion and love for yourself. Now, the next self-love practice that you can do for your self-love session is that you can do inner child healing session. You can do a whole self-love session for your inner child healing to make your inner child feel acknowledged, seen, heard, loved, and appreciated. And you can let your inner child say the things that they couldn't say in their childhood. The reason why you grew up betraying, abandoning, and neglecting yourself, because you've experienced conditional love from your parents. Your parents only loved you when you did X, Y, and Z. That is conditional love. That is not unconditional love, which is the reason why you are struggling with unconditionally loving yourself. So this is the reason why inner child healing is so important, because it makes us aware about all the ways that experiencing either emotional neglect or abuse in our childhood, or experiencing conditional love from our parents, impacted our relationship with ourselves. And it gives you a lot of breakthroughs and epiphanies. For example, my parents expected perfection out of me, and whenever I was perfect, that's the only time I felt lovable. So now you expect perfection out of yourself. You see, the pattern just continues. Whatever your parents passed down onto you, you are now passing down to yourself. For example, you can do inner child guided meditations. There are lots of it on YouTube. This is something that I do, which is like visualizing, hugging my inner child in my memory, all the ways, in places and times where my inner child felt really hurt and betrayed in my childhood. So like I would visualize those memories and like hugging my inner child. Or you can write your inner child a letter, telling all the things to your inner child that you craved in your childhood, that you wanted to hear from your parents. Giving your inner child the love, the validation, the praise that they so desperately wanted, that they so deserve, but they didn't receive that. As well as learning how to reparent yourself, allowing yourself to do the things that you couldn't do as a child. Do the things that you used to do as a child. For me, that was swinging, going to the park. For me, that was dancing. So basically all the things that I did as a child, I allow myself to do it now, as well as watch Disney movies that I loved as a child, which is Barbie. But this is how your inner child healing session could look like. So apply the knowledge that I've just shared with you, how it fits into your self-love session, and you can do the self-love session on a weekly basis for your inner child healing session. Now, a self-love practice that has helped me to be confident in my body and to feel attractive in my body is Dancing. Yeah, dancing is part of my self-love session. I know it sounds weird. Now, as someone who's experienced sexual abuse in their childhood, my confidence in my body, or the way that I felt in my body, it didn't feel safe. So dancing literally became my number one way where I connected with my body, started feeling safe, and started regaining a sense of, oh, this is who I am, because dancing is part of my authentic self. And so I'm talking about sensual dancing, but as well as just the normal hip-hop dancing or any form of dancing that you like. But for me, it's like hip-hop, contemporary. I started to feel really hot and attractive in my body, as well as started to love my body shape. So yeah, this is a practice that I highly recommend everyone trying, and give it a try. Let me know how the experience was for you. I just could not miss out on not talking about this part, which is practicing a self-care. Now, self-care basically means taking care of yourself mentally, emotionally, physically. Now, a lot of people are already taking a shower, eating your meals regularly, and drinking water or exercising, doing yoga. Sleeping is also part of self-care. And I know a lot of people are sleep deprived, or they engage in hustle culture and they are burning out and not taking care of their body in the way that it deserves to be taken care of. So again, if you are starting your self-love journey, part of self-love is taking care of yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically, and take care of your body in the way that it deserves to be taken care of. Now, I have just talked about all the self-love practices that you can do for your self-love session to build a healthy, loving relationship with yourself. Just take everything I've talked about in this video and apply it to your situation and your life and your schedule in whatever shape or form that fits into your life. Now, based on the small self-love practices that I've talked about, that may require only either 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes or even 1 minute, which are, for example, going in front of the mirror every single morning and saying I love you to yourself. Either repeating one general affirmation or 3 specific affirmations based on your needs every single day, or playing self-love affirmation track in the morning and in the evening while you're doing your skincare and getting ready in the morning, and repeating those affirmations out loud while you look at yourself in front of the mirror. You can do that, or you can do guided meditation, or you can do self-love conversation / mirror work in the morning or in the evening. Or you can do journaling session, just like I talked about, either for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and doing that every single day, whether you like to do that in the morning or evening, I don't know. Or you can do a guided meditation / visualization to reprogram your subconscious mind that this is your ideal self now, and to step into your ideal self from now on in the morning as well as before bedtime. And you can do that every single day. So these are all the self-love practices that you can do on a daily basis. If you start doing your weekly self-love sessions, then that's amazing. But if you don't, then just start out with the daily self-love practices that I've talked about. Just pick out 1 or 2 self-love practices that you can do every single day for just starting out, and then you can add in the weekly self-love session. Now, for the people that do want to do the weekly self-love sessions from now on, then absolutely you can do that. You can schedule this self-love session on your habit tracker in a way, at a time, at a place that fits into your schedule and your routine the best. Because for me, for example, on Sunday, I do my self-love session. For example, on Sunday, I make sure that I also have time to take a nap and to watch YouTube videos and have fun and do other activities alongside doing a self-love session for a short amount of time. Most of the time, it goes around 30 minutes. Sometimes I have my self-love session for 1 hour because maybe I had a stressful week, or maybe I am processing something that's really difficult and painful. For starters, I really encourage you to set up your weekly self-love sessions for 15 to 20 minutes, or if you like to do 30 minutes, then go ahead. You can absolutely do that. Now, here's the reason why you should have a weekly self-love session in the first place. Building a healthy, loving relationship with yourself, there are so many aspects, so many things that you have to learn that will help you to love yourself unconditionally and much more, and to help you accept and embrace and love who you are, and other very important things that you are going to learn on your self-love journey that you need to learn so that you can build a healthy, loving relationship with yourself. One part of the weekly self-love session that I want you to prioritize is the fact that for starting out, since you don't know that much about self-love, since you don't know all the other aspects that is combined when it comes to building your healthy, loving relationship with yourself, you are going to educate yourself and you are going to watch videos about self-love, or maybe you can also buy books. When it comes to self-love, you can educate yourself through that as well. So you can either watch my videos, because on this channel I have a self-love series dedicated to help you, to teach you how to build a healthy, loving relationship with yourself and everything that you need to know. So you can watch my videos, or someone else, if I haven't filmed certain videos that you want to educate yourself on, you can watch other people's videos on self-love as well. So I want you to educate yourself, for example, on how to forgive yourself whenever you make a mistake, how to build a healthy relationship with making mistakes and learning and growing from them, how to prioritize yourself, how to discover your authentic self, what is shadow work and how to practice it, what is mirror work and how do I practice it. For example, you watch a video about how to love yourself unconditionally because you don't know what unconditional self-love means. You don't know how to do that. So you watch a video about that and then you apply that knowledge when it comes to the relationship with yourself. And that's how you learn to love yourself unconditionally. Or what are some of the misconceptions that you have about self-love? And you can watch videos on that, which I'll be filming about, by the way, in the future. What are some questions that I have when it comes to self-love that I really want to know? So as you go along on your self-love journey, for your weekly self-love sessions, you're going to watch videos or read a book about self-love if that's what you want to do, and educate yourself and write everything that you have learned either on your notes section on your phone or somewhere, or you can have a specific journal just dedicated to writing down everything important that you have learned about you building a loving, healthy relationship with yourself and for your self-love journey. So you're going to be writing everything down, and you are now going to apply that knowledge, apply what you have just learned for your weekly self-love session as you go along. So not only are you doing the small but significant and impactful self-love practices on a daily basis for stepping into your new identity, but you are also going deeper into your self-love practices on a weekly basis. You will see no changes if you don't apply that knowledge when it comes to the relationship with yourself and for your self-love practices. So as you go along, you are educating yourself on different topics when it comes to self-love and different aspects. You are writing down, taking notes, and you are applying that knowledge. And you are showing up for that shadow work practice that you have just learned about when it comes to how to do shadow work. And you are applying the knowledge when it comes to how to practice mirror work, how to do the self-love conversation, or so on and so forth. And now you are making progress as you go along on your self-love journey that way. And this is how you build a healthy, loving relationship with yourself. Because this is exactly what I did. On a daily basis, I said I love you to myself in front of the mirror. I practiced positive self-talk, and I sometimes repeated affirmations to myself, as well as I did my weekly self-love sessions where I practiced mirror work, self-love, and self-forgiveness session, where I practiced shadow work, where I spent time alone with myself and asked myself questions to discover my authentic self, because that's also part of your self-love practice, where I also did self-love visualization, where I also did inner child healing sessions, where I also journaled. Now that I've been on my self-love journey for a long time, this, for me, it's about nurturing the relationship with myself. It's about checking up with myself emotionally. Hey, how are you feeling? What can I do for you? Is there an aspect of myself that has been feeling neglected? How can I show that aspect of myself, love, appreciation, make myself feel seen and heard? Because I'm a human being. I'm not perfect. I go through things, or there are things that I need to process that are kind of painful. This is about being committed to yourself, showing up for yourself. And no, it doesn't have to be serious every single time. Your self-love session could look different sometimes, where you go on a solo day with yourself and learn how to enjoy your own company, learn how to be alone and have fun on your own, and learn how to eat alone at a restaurant and really enjoy it instead of feeling awkward. And so your self-love session could also look like watching your favorite Disney movies, or dancing in a goofy way, or singing out loud, or doing an activity that you used to do as a child. Your self-love session could be fun, like singing yourself a love song in front of the mirror. So mix and match to how you want your self-love sessions to be. It doesn't have to be serious all the time. And most importantly, you can do it like me, or you can mix and match and customize the self-love practice for your self-love session and do it however it is that you want to do for your daily self-love practices and for your weekly self-love practices. If you want to now add the weekly self-love sessions to your routine as well. Just because other people journal in the morning and evening doesn't mean you need to do that. Just like me, I don't journal every day. If you don't want to, if you can't do that, if you're too exhausted, tired, then don't. You know, I do that once a week for my weekly self-love session where I go a little bit deeper. So, you know, like customize it however you want. Just mix and match your self-love practice however it fits into your schedule and however it is that you want to show up for when it comes to your self-love practices. So basically, according to the author of the book Atomic Habits, one of the great ways to build a new habit is to identify a current habit you already do each day and then stack your new habit on top of that. Basically pairing a new habit with an existing one. This is called habit stacking. There's an easy example of this mentioned in the book, the tendency for one purchase to lead to another. And this is called the Diderot effect, which is exactly what we are doing here. Stacking your new habit on top of a current one. Stacking your self-love practice on top of a current habit that you already do. The habit stacking formula is after current habit, I will perform the new habit. So for me, how that looks like is after I'm finished with lunch on Sunday, every single Sunday, I have my self-love session. I will start journaling for my self-love session. That's what I do on Sunday. Or when I start doing my skincare routine, I will play self-love affirmations. So for example, for you, that might be the case. Every morning or every evening, when I do my skincare routine, I will play my self-love affirmation. When I do my skincare routine, I will repeat these 5 affirmations for self-love. So this is how you can use the habit stacking formula for you in your situation. So just apply this for your routine and your self-love practice. So here's how to perform the second technique, which is called implementation intention. So implementation intention is a plan you make beforehand about when and where to act. That is how you intend to implement a particular habit. People who make a specific plan for when and where they will perform a new habit are more likely to follow through. So basically, it leaves no room for wandering, as in what should I do, where I do it, and how I should do it. You exactly know what to do and when to do it and how to do it. I want you to first set a clear intention about your specific habit that you want to perform. In our case, the self-love habit that you want to apply in your routine. What you're going to do, for example, during the next week, I will partake in at least 15 minutes of journaling on day, at time, in place. Another example might be, I will do a self-love guided meditation for 5 minutes at 7 a.m. in my room. Or I will practice mirror work for 2 minutes in my bathroom after waking up. That would be saying I love you to yourself, and coupled with 3 other very important affirmations for you, catered to your needs and specifically on what you want to work on and focus on. So just apply this in your situation and when it comes to your routine and the self-love practice that you want to show up for. If you're not tracking your progress, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing? James Clear, the author of the book Atomic Habits, talked about when you track progress, you see the evidence of your new identity. Just like how I mentioned before at the beginning of this video. So it's very important that you track your progress because this is the evidence of your new identity, that you are someone that prioritizes themselves and their relationship with themselves, is committed to showing up for yourself and meeting your needs. So how you're going to do that is through a habit tracker. I use a calendar for some of my habits, and then I also use a habit tracker for all of my other habits. Most of the habits that I have, I use a habit tracker digitally. And it's okay if for whatever reason you forgot to do a self-love session, practice, or whatever. It's okay. Don't be hard on yourself. For some people, I know they have a lot going on, so be understanding towards yourself, okay? That's all. If you are really hard on yourself, if you just had a really busy day and you are overwhelmed and all you want to do is just go to bed, then go to bed. That's the best thing that you can do for your body. So listen to yourself and practice self-understanding and self-compassion. So no matter how small the habit is, I just want you to put that in the habit tracker. Whether that's you every morning and evening playing self-love affirmations, or saying I love you to yourself in front of the mirror, or for your weekly self-love sessions, you get the point. But I just found both of these habit tracking app works for me really well, so I just thought I would mention it and recommend it to you guys as well. So that's it, guys, with the video. I hope that by watching this video has helped you to start your self-love journey in the way that you want to. If so, then leave a comment down below and let me know. I think this video will be very helpful for your next step on your self-love journey. And with that being said, I'll see you on my next video. Bye.